the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast.
Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Saturday, the 17th of April, 2021, and I have here with me, most of you know her as Fringe Files. She's also known as Kenzie, and I needed to bring her onto Truth, Money, and Freedom. We've done some videos before together on Wall Street Silver, but she has started a new channel, and I wanted to make sure that everyone knew about the new channel as well as the Wall Street Silver channel. So, Kenzie, first of all, welcome. I don't think we've ever had you as a guest on Truth, Money, and Freedom before. Yet we do shows together all the time.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Cross promoting, I think, sometimes can be kind of good, but it's no secret. I think you and I have been kind of close since I got onto the Discord and was able to find my way in there. And from there, I think I just found my people. You know, I think that there's a lot of us. There's YouTube videos that we can watch and we can, retweet things on social media. But as far as actually having a community of people come together and talk about different things that they might be investing in or what they might be avoiding, Truth, Money, and Freedom Discord has probably been one of the best places I've gone to seriously discuss this sort of stuff. And I say seriously because I've been a part of other Discords and they're kind of more pump and dumps. And with those, someone always gets left holding the bag. But I think that we're more about the education side of things, and I like that. I appreciate your Discord for that.
Well, thank you very much, and it's all the much better for having you there as well. But there's a lot of other folks that have come in that have been absolutely wonderful as well with the Wall Street Silver movement. But you've recently started your own channel, Wall Street Stackers. And I wanted to, first of all, everyone, it'll be right down below in the description section like everything I do, so you can find Kenzie very easily there. But let's talk about the new channel you started real quick. So you started this channel roughly a week ago?
Just about, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so that channel is once again, about silver, isn't it? Oh.
That's my basis for it. But to be honest, I didn't put silver in the name because I think you and I both know our base is silver, right? But we're very diversified people. I hold a bit of crypto myself. I'm not a huge fan of the stock market, but you were on the phone with me when I profited massively off
I remember
that.
I remember that.
So there are some, once in a blue moon trades that I'll get into for stocks. And I'm not a day trader, and I'm not necessarily a long-term holder for stocks either. I like a really good swing trade. And a swing trade for me doesn't even just mean 3 days. It could mean that I'm holding a position for 2 or 3 months. But in my head, that's still not long-term. You also know I like to prep a little bit. I wouldn't say like I'm a hardcore doomsdayer, but because of the economic instability that we're in here, and a lot of people can't see it, the talking heads on the media won't let you know what's actually happening. But when you go and look at the amount of debt that this country is in, and it seems the trillions and trillions and trillions more that we'll be getting into, we're on a 3-day system.
We are.
And that's kind of scary to think about. So also just having a little bit of, food stacked up. If there's somebody out there that's stacking corn to the ceiling, I'd love to hear them out and know why. I've got some people that I've talked to that have been stacking, lumber aside for years. And when you see the price that lumber's at today, corn actually just took a bid as well, just to throw that out there. This makes sense. And, people might have questions as to what did they see coming? What was the motivation behind that? And I think that Wall Street Stackers, the base of that is definitely silver, but there's other assets, hard assets, real assets that people get into. And it's something I would like to hear about if that's, what the community wants to discuss.
Sure. And especially you brought up kind of economics here. Basically, I think it's really, really important that you brought that up, by the way, because we're all about that in Truth, Money, and Freedom on Discord, because this is the reason why we do what we do. We are keeping track of the economy, the bond market. That's a big one right there that a lot of people don't follow or understand. We try to teach that. There are others that do that as well. Greg Manarino does that. He's famous for that as well. But it's an important set of signposts for you to follow for when problems are coming. And stacking silver is a very, very big part of prepping anyway. and it's gold or silver or other commodities for barterable items. I mean, if nothing else, storing your wealth. If you're not, if barter is not your thing, you think you've prepped enough to the point where you don't need to barter, but storing your wealth. So economics, silver, prepping, and anything else?
I guess I stack guns.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if
There we go.
that's
Do you see?
justification,
That's okay. I'm into stacking guns as well.
I'm into those people as well, and maybe there's some people, a part of Wall Street stackers that don't like that sort of thing, but I would also encourage them, if you're trying to maintain any sort of wealth, anything at all, whatever you stack, you kind of need a way to defend yourself and protect that stuff. I mean, you only see the world is getting crazier, so to me it doesn't make sense not to have some form of protection. Hell, even if it's a crossbow, get something.
Well, we call it stacking lead bullion sometimes. Just making sure people understand that, as Americans, that just makes sense anyway. But the silver story is getting bigger. It's definitely occupying a lot of our time in the chat, as you know. There's a lot of new news circling around, stuff we've never seen happen before. Things we think are happening right now that will be reported on within a month, probably sooner. So, in taking all of this into account and looking at it, basically big picture, I think that when you do something like silver, and you talked a little bit about crypto, I have a little bit of crypto too, but my main thing is silver. It always has been. But hedging, basically having some sort of hedge. And if all you have is silver and you don't have any other hedge, your lead bullion is a good hedge for that as well. So I'll swing around to the guns again.
Understand as well, and maybe you do the same thing. I'm not positive. I am never trading any asset for fiat. The only way that I am selling an asset is to put it into something else that I think is going to be a better position. So let's go back to when crypto went on its wild ride back a couple years ago.
2017.
I did sell out more than half of my position. I got into silver and some lead bullion as well. So I cashed out of that position and put it elsewhere, but into another hard asset that I feel comfortable with. I am never selling anything to hold on to fiat dollars. That's the last thing personally that I want to hold. If someone else wants to have a stack of cash set aside, I think that that's okay. But it all depends. We all have to make our own goals, right? Because these cookie cutter systems don't work for everyone else. It's about how big is your mortgage payment, what's your car payment, insurance, things like this. And how long could I go for? Say if I lost my job tomorrow, can I make it 3 months? I think that that's a good starting point for people. But for myself, I don't think that I want to hold a large position in cash because I know that it's depreciating every single day. I want that money to go directly into another hard asset that I feel comfortable with. And also pay down debts. I think that right now it's more important than ever to get as much of your debt paid off as you can.
I agree.
I'm not a person that says, wait to invest until that debt is paid off, because if it's secured debt and you've got some time, then you've got that wiggle room. But I do think that whenever you have the opportunity to do so, pay above what the bank wants you to pay, because we're just going to get eaten up by interest at the end of the day. And there is the argument that, well, the rate of inflation right now, this isn't going to matter. Well, it does, and it has for years. So the quicker that you can pay that off, the better. And if we had something disastrous happen in this country, you're going to be less likely to lose those assets that you're trying to hold on to.
Yeah, I agree completely. This is something that we talk about quite a bit, these very subjects in our Discord quite a bit. In lieu of that, I want to say something, how impressed I am with the interviews you've done. And there's a whole bunch of them. And this was done with a different channel called Wall Street Silver. And is it your intention to continue doing interviews on Wall Street Stackers?
I do intend to continue to do interviews, and we actually had, I've got about 3 or 4 guests that were supposed to be interviewed over on Wall Street Silver. But obviously not being there, I'm going to do the best that I can to continue to have those interviews and maybe secure those in place. But it would be irresponsible of me not to reach out to these people and let them know that, hey, I've left this group. If they want to know the reasoning behind that, that's fine as well. I did make a video on that. You know that. It's the first video up on that channel. And I don't care to discuss any more about that because I don't want people to think that I'm going into this to just stir up the pot and cause a bunch of drama. Morally, I felt responsible to kind of let people know what the situation was. And it would be unfair because, I really got to communicate with that community and they would reach out to me. They're in our Discord. I'm getting DMs from people. So I actually had the opportunity to truly talk to the people in the community. And I didn't want them thinking that I'm just going to disappear. I'm still going to be here. And I'm very much a part of that community that was created from Wall Street Silver. Even if I don't like the people very much that started the movement, I really, really love the community. That's the most important piece of all of this, and it seems most of the people agree with me. We've now got a spot that we can all go to. If you still talk on the Reddit page, that's good, but a lot of us have been censored there. Somehow I have not been. I'm still able to communicate, but maybe I just fly under the radar because I'm not the most active there. I tend to be more of a reader than a responder, I guess you could say. So either way, I mean, it's opened up Twitter discussion. It's on Discord, the Facebooks that are out there. There's a lot going on within this movement, and to see where people are, whether they've been stacking for 50 years or they just started 5 days ago, that's amazing to see how we can all come together and kind of learn off of one another. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I can admit that I've learned a lot just from being a part of this. TC, I didn't know a whole lot about the paper markets. I knew that it was extremely manipulated, and I knew that that's why the price of silver and gold were suppressed, silver being more than gold, but I knew that that's why it was suppressed, but I didn't understand the fundamentals, how it all worked.
The mechanics.
Mechanics, unallocated versus allocated, ETFs. I didn't dive into all that until recently, and now I've learned so much just in a matter of, 2 or 3 months. That I wouldn't have learned unless, all of this was started. It's amazing.
Yep. And also it's important for everyone who's watching this video to understand that Fringe was very much a part of the movement and involved in the Wall Street Silver channel that was brought from the original group from Dimmy, and all that fun stuff. And basically, it's important for everyone to understand that this movement is larger than all of us as individuals. And that it's not about splitting up, literally the gang. It's not about doing that. It's just, there's several different interests within that group, and, how things can get, it's hard enough to keep a marriage, alive today. Think about a marriage of 4 or 5 or 6 people, all having different interests but participating in the same project. Things like that, they sometimes don't work out. However, there's room for everybody in this movement, and this movement is huge, and it's making a massive impact. I can tell you, as a guy who's been stacking for 35 years, as much as I've told people about silver, I didn't have an impact. Wall Street Silver is what caused this to literally explode to what it is today. There's no doubt in my mind. I admit that freely, but I don't see it as a small group of people that led everyone. I see it as a movement of a massive group of people that may not even be participating in Reddit or watching YouTube videos, that are just going out there and getting silver. They're part of that movement too, and they may not even understand or know that a friend of theirs at work who is watching YouTube videos, who is part of the Reddit, told him about silver, and he doesn't care about Reddit. He doesn't care about, watching. He doesn't know the characters that started the whole thing. And so the movement is growing, and the billboards, of course, will do that too, which is a big part of the movement. But it is...
Oh, that's huge. I mean, the only time I've ever seen a billboard for gold or silver is it's a local coin shop, so close to the area, right?
We buy gold.
It's some hedge fund that wants you get into these paper contracts, and you never actually own anything with that. So if there's anything just beyond incredible, and that's exciting, that came from Wall Street Silver, no matter what you think about the group or the individuals involved. Ivan having the idea to go and do billboards is huge. That is huge for us,
It
because
is.
collectively, and yes, there were some big companies that threw money into that. I threw money into that campaign. It's not a huge portion, but I want to see this, right? I want to see this play through. I want to see what it does. Is there any impact? As soon as these billboards are up, we're going to be able to see that in the volume of silver and what's happening. The only thing that we have to pray for is that people aren't jumping into paper contracts. We need them to get that physical. That's the only thing that I hope, that they don't misread the billboard, because I think that it's all about getting physical silver. And there, TC, let's go ahead and talk about that. There are risks to holding physical silver. Now, it's not that third-party counter risk. That's scarier than anything to me. And I hope that on Wall Street Stackers in the future, I do plan on trying to get some security experts out there, some people that are extremely knowledgeable on safes, and kind of helping guide people through on how to do this, because it can be extremely uncomfortable holding any kind of asset in your home. And that means taking personal responsibility. You don't want it all sitting on your fireplace mantle, maybe a couple of little pieces that you just like to look at, but you wouldn't want it to be easy to walk out with. So, yes, I'm huge on physical, and I've gotten responses back about, I don't feel safe keeping this. There are other alternatives for these people, but I need to do a lot of research as far as some of the vaults that are out there that could be trustworthy. Even with the best vaults that are out there, there's still third-party risk in the fact that if the government changes laws, you could be affected by that. So that's something to think about. But it's not the worst thing in the world, because I think you would have enough time to move that silver out of that private vault if you saw this stuff going on. So the next thing is how do I keep it safe in my home? And I really want to try to reach out to some experts out there, because I can tell you to buy it all day, but if I'm not explaining how to keep it safe or helping someone do that, then I'm not doing my job.
And actually, I'd like to shift just a little bit. You touched on some good topics and everything, but I want to talk about something that was fresh in the news literally as of yesterday. And that is what China's doing right now, but it involves gold, not silver. And it's a big story, because I've been in gold and silver for 35 years. I have seen central banks buy gold, not personally, but in the news, watching, basically paying attention to what's going on in the sector. Now, what we have going on in China is very unique. It's not just the central bank buying gold externally from outside of China, but all their member and commercial banks and investment banks in China are all announcing they're going for worldwide silver. Or, I'm sorry, worldwide gold. And this is something we have never, ever seen before. I think this will probably help silver as well. But what do you think is going on with China and gold? Do you think they're intending to gold back the yuan or the digital yuan?
I guess that could be a possibility, or if we're going to come up with a whole new currency altogether, which I think China has been working on in the background. If they were going to come up with a whole new currency, possibly they want it backed by something. The currency that they have today, they try to keep it extremely competitive, right, as we do with the US dollar as well. But what does this end up doing, TC? It hurts us as the citizens. The same goes for China. So you're kind of just flushing money down the toilet. It's a race to the bottom, so to say. Maybe China sees that everything bubble and what's happening, because whether it be their bubble burst or our bubble burst, it could be in some other foreign country. All these dominoes are connected, right? And we're going to see them all fall. Is China setting itself up to be more protected when that happens, because they can maintain some purchasing power? Even if their currency is absolutely collapsing, if they've got gold sitting in vaults that we don't have here in the US, I don't know how much we actually have. I don't believe any of the numbers, just as I don't believe China's numbers either. Some of this could be some hype and maybe made up, but let's take it for what it is. If they're truly setting all this gold aside and buying as much as they can, and we've seen India doing the same, are they preparing themselves for the worst case scenario, because that's what you tend to do. Smart money moves into gold for the worst case scenario.
You bet. And also, this is important to point out, I think, for many people who are new into this sector, whether just watching what's going on with gold and silver or physically accumulating it, is that the East seems to be much more proactive about buying gold than the West. So this is something the West is talking going digital on everything. You know, we're just going to go from a worthless paper dollar to a worthless digital dollar, and everything's going to be okay. The East says they're going to do the same thing. But you know that old axiom is, you know, don't pay attention to what people say. Pay attention to what they do. They say they're going to a digital yuan. Everyone's going digital in the East as well as the West. But they're accumulating an awful lot of gold, Fringe. An awful lot of gold. There's charts showing this. There's people on YouTube that talk about this all the time. So if they're going digital and they say, well, we're going to go digital just like the West, makes sense to me that they're going to be backing it with something so that they have they're better positioned basically going into the future when the dollar doesn't do so well. I hate to say collapses because what does a collapse look like? And right now it's looking like it's going to be a crack up boom. I don't know what else to say. They're printing it out of style is what they're doing.
Exactly.
So
I'm sure everyone here knows what that means too, but in case you stumble across this video and you don't know what a crack up boom is, well, let me explain it as quickly and simply as possible. While Venezuelans were raiding the zoo to eat their animals, they had the best performing stock market in the world. In the world. So while their currency was literally worth nothing and it took a wheelbarrow to go and buy bread from the grocery store, the stock market was doing great. And that's why we can't, you know, TC, that's why we can't rely on the stock market to tell us how things are going. We know that most of these companies are zombie companies. They're allowed to do their buybacks again. And as we see smart money getting out, I hate to say this, but we have young people, younger than me, and they're playing on these Robinhood apps and different trading apps that are out there. And I think, honestly, what helps really maintain this boom is all the people that are out there that are able to just buy as little as $5 of a stock. And it's silly. You don't own the whole thing. You hardly own any of it. But they feel as if they own something because they're able to just put in $5 a week. And you know, that's going to really help accelerate things once we get there and this thing just goes hyperbolic. The little guy, the smallest guy out there is going to be able to help maintain that, so to speak, boom as well, because you don't have to have big money to play anymore.
Sure. And in fact, we could even talk about, you know, the distortions within the bubbles at this point, because crypto is a great example of that. Now, as much, and by the way, you know, you've known me for a long time. I'm not a big guy to sell crypto to other people. I'm a silver guy. But I do talk about crypto. And the distortions forming in crypto are absolutely insane. Dogecoin, one example. A meme coin. It doesn't have any use cases, but it does have a meme, you know, which is a little dog. And apparently that's what gives its value. And its value is skyrocketing right now. That's just one example. But crypto, basically, I see it as kind of a sponge for liquidity right now. All that extra cash that's sloshing around the system, you know, that they've been printing and throwing into the system. A lot of it's going into crypto, and that's why you guys see a bubble forming in crypto right now. Eventually, when the bonds break, when and if that happens, a large majority of that money or currency will actually go into commodities. That's where your gold and silver will go up like crypto's going up. That's when you'll see that happen. So, you know, gold and silver are definitely doing well, but they don't have the distortionary bubble that you'll find in crypto or in housing and, you know, several other sectors.
Think about how much bigger and larger this bubble in crypto could get, because young people, and now we see older people, they are selling off their gold to go and buy Bitcoin.
Yep.
Whoa, that's scary to me. Whatever money maybe you would have put in gold, put that in Bitcoin instead, and still hold your gold if that's how bullish you are on it. But to actually hold a hard asset and sell that, we're talking about gold, been around for 3,000 plus years. People have known that that's money. To sell that for something that's only been around it's a blip on the map compared to other assets that are out there. That's insanity. We see insanity forming here. And what makes me nervous is if we see any kind of real crack in this economy, does that bubble get even bigger?
Yeah.
Because people don't know where to put their money. We're not taught these kinds of things. If you want to learn it, you've got to go and learn it yourself. I think I stopped my little sister this morning from actually jumping headfirst into crypto. I'm excited that she wants to invest, but personally, I would not feel good if I gave her any recommendations right now because there's no fundamentals to this market. I think I have a pretty good idea of where it's going, and I won't even say here because if, I'll burn myself. I don't want to burn you guys. Nobody should ever listen to me. But I had to stop her because she's talking about, she's trying to understand the internet money and how it's not money, but people see it as money. And I'm going, are you talking about crypto? What are you doing right now? And she said, well, after last night, it seems like everybody wants to get in. I'm like, honey, this has been going on for months where everybody and their mama is trying to hop onto this train. I told her, buy silver. Just buy silver. It's at a suppressed price. And she's actually going to be having a baby in a couple of months. So the last thing that I want is for her going and risking anything at the moment. Could there be big rewards? There definitely could be. But I understand their income level. I understand their situation. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with her right now jumping into that. And that's what scares me the most is there's a lot of desperate people out there. And this is gambling on steroids. Stock market, crypto, whatever you look at. If you have no experience with this, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody on the Wall Street Stackers Twitter page, they reached out and they bought in at Doge at like 30-something cents. Maybe it goes up more. Maybe. But right now, their portfolio is not looking so good. And the amount that they threw into there just, it made my heart sink. Because you don't want to see people make these mistakes, but we also can't all be winners.
Yes, right? But also too, I'm going to be devil's advocate for a second here, and I hate to be, especially when it comes to crypto, because I've hedged silver with crypto.
Yeah.
But there's a reason I did it, and that's because I know the government is corrupt. I know the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, corrupt. CFTC, corrupt. The regulators, CME Group, Chicago Mercantile, corrupt. They're all corrupt. And I don't know how long they're going to hold down silver. So I hedged with crypto. And of course, I have put way, way, way more money in silver than I have in crypto, but I have more value in crypto now than I have in silver because of these distortions, inflation. Now, until they actually get to the point where they stop the manipulation or at least lessen the pressure on precious metals, people maybe see this as a way to stay ahead of that inflation. And that may be true. And in fact, you could look at certain aspects of the stock market for the same thing. But the point I'm making is we get it. I think Fringe and I both get why people are doing this. We understand inflation very, very well, Fringe and I, and everyone at Truth, Money, and Freedom Discord. We get it. But when does the ride end? We don't know. And so that's, I think, where Kenzie's getting to now. Where does it end in crypto and start in silver? And if it does do that, it'll probably be pretty sudden. So, maybe if you're into crypto and you don't have any precious metals, get some precious metals, take some profits off the crypto, and maybe do that. And, and maybe if you're all in on silver and you want to gamble a little bit in the crypto market, you could throw a little bit in there as well. That was my hedge. That's my official hedge. So I don't really have any.
A lot of people would get mad at us for being into crypto because why aren't you all in on silver? Why aren't you all in on this? Yes, crypto is silly. There are very few of them that I believe could have their place in this world.
Me too.
But I'm not going to be so naive to say there's not money in that.
Yep.
Does that mean someone else has to get burned or left holding the bag? Sure, but I came in this with the knowledge of knowing I could also be the person holding the bag. So risk and reward here, right? And I'm not making everyday trades. I'm not doing this kind of
Neither am I.
stuff all the time. I've been burned one time, and that means I'm lucky. I'm extremely lucky. But I also don't trade off of any emotions. I don't. I will trade off of hype. Let me clarify this. 'Cause most people go into something on hype, but I'll see when hype is about to happen, and I'll get in front of that hype.
Gotcha.
Right? And I'm never looking for tops. I've gotten very close on a lot of calls, but I'm not looking for those tops, because then that means I could be left at the bottom and not get out soon enough. So it does not hurt me at all to take profits off the table. Do I agree with this crypto system, a digital future? No, not at all. I actually hate it. But if I have the opportunity, I'm in an off-grid location now. I'm able to do this interview with TC off-grid. So I've already reached some of my goals. And this stuff happened because me and my partner were smart enough to go, okay, you know what? The world is changing. I might have to change a little bit with it, but there's only so far that I'll go. And if there's the opportunity to make a little bit of money and put it into stuff like I did this home that I have, I like that. That's an opportunity for me, and I wouldn't have had the same opportunity if we didn't work online, because both of us work online. I wouldn't have that. If we didn't invest a little bit and save, this wouldn't be happening. So I don't agree with it. In fact, I hate a lot of the crypto. I hate a lot of the hype. It's distracting from gold and silver. But I'm not going to change millions of people's minds. I might as well ride the wave a little bit and make something off of it. And that's just the easiest way to go into it, is don't put emotion into it.
Yep. Well, actually, too, we could take it on a new level here, which is if you want to go into capital markets to stay ahead of inflation, as opposed to starting a business, because there's a lot of businesses that used to be quite profitable. However, they may not be as profitable anymore, but the supply lines being what they are today, nothing is certain anymore. I can tell you that as an IT consultant. We're just getting, computer parts is more challenging than it's ever been before, certainly more expensive. And I think the same thing's happening in the car markets with car parts. I think the same thing is happening with, well, we know about lumber. We talk about that quite a bit. Lumber is just astronomically high right now. So at any rate, these are distortions within the bubbles. So that Fringe and I were talking about. So we understand why people who are into gold and silver, such as ourselves, having a little bit of crypto as well, basically because that's where the insane inflation is right now. We can profit off of that. And we may most likely get more silver with it. That's probably what will end up happening in the end. But I do agree with you, what you said earlier about paying off debt. This is an important time to make sure that's done. I know others who would say, wait for the hyperinflation to pay off your debt. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I'm thinking before the hyperinflation, because it'll be so quick when people lose their homes and their cars, and the things that they really do need to maintain their lifestyles.
Yeah.
So we saw this happen in Zimbabwe. We've seen it in Venezuela. We've seen it in real time, recent. So we don't have to go back to Weimar Republic, Germany. Okay.
Exactly.
I think that basically the crypto thing, and I don't know if you're going to be talking about crypto and Wall Street stackers or not. Of course, that's something that's a very, very big topic. A lot of people are always looking for those channels that have a little bit of information. But the fact that you're talking about prepping, that means storing wealth anyway. So you'll probably be covering just a little bit of that as well.
A small bit of it, yeah. And I don't want people to think that I'll talk about cryptos often, but because there's so much hype there, how do you not? I've got soccer moms on my Facebook asking, and they got into Doge last night. And someone was asking, is that a Bitcoin? How do I get in? And I go, oh no. So we've got the whole community of soccer moms together on Facebook talking about what prices they're getting into Doge at and what their husbands are doing. And I'm going, no. My comment was, this is your first time, huh? Because they haven't been through the cycle yet, and all they see is the stars right now, right? So whenever I talk about this stuff on Wall Street Stackers, it's still just more from an educational standpoint.
Mhm.
And I want to, I'm in no way a financial advisor, but like I said, I haven't been burned often. So whatever my strategy is, it's not the worst.
Mhm.
And I want to educate people on how to make safer buys and safer trades. How do you set those stop limits? How do you set a sell limit? How do you kind of put yourself in a bubble to give you this protective space so you don't lose it all? And my favorite comment ever that you'll probably hear me say is, you have no gains and you have no losses until you sell.
That's correct.
Um,
Agreed.
I mean, you can look at numbers
And,
on a screen all day, but until it's realized, it's not a real thing.
and I thought I would throw this out here for those who are hating on either of us right now. I know someone personally that literally took $800,000 out of cryptocurrency and bought silver. I mean, this is a lot of people's plans. And
Hmm.
and when my debt is all paid off, that's where mine goes too.
Hmm.
So so at any rate, there is a purpose for it for me. There's a plan. It's
Yeah, there's a strategy to all of this, right? In a way that we think uh, you don't have to be a believer in anything to be an investor in it. You just have to see what's trending at the moment, right? And maybe get into that trend before it really pops off. And now you're in a better position than where you were. And for me, that always means paying off more debt and buying more silver.
Mhm.
Always.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Is there any other places you want people to be able to find your work, get a hold of you, or see any of your videos?
Well, I'm in the Discord often, so if
Hmm.
people did come into the Truth, Money, and Freedom Discord, I'm over there often, guys. You can DM me over there. I did create a Wall Street Stackers Twitter and an Instagram page. I'm not the most active person on Instagram. It's not my favorite thing. I tend to be pretty active on Twitter, but I think that you can DM me from both of those spots. Uh, and whenever I have some free time, I'm happy to get back to anybody. And oftentimes I'm able to learn from people that talk with me. I'm very open to being able to learn more. I don't want to be so stuck in my ways sometimes because that can hurt us later, right? If we don't
Hmm.
accept information for what it is. And just to throw that out there, I was actually having a conversation with someone that watches the other night. They actually live in another country, but their family works for some of the really big miners that are out there, TC. And they were telling me, so what happens, once we break the COMEX, we get rid of all these paper contracts that are out there, and we see silver start to go crazy. But my family over here that works for these really big guys, they're also involved in having giant, shipping containers stacked to the brim with gold and silver, and they're buried underground. And if that price ever goes up too fast, too quick, are they just going to dump it onto the market? Are they just saving it for themselves? I can't tell you what's going to happen, but we actually were talking through these kinds of things on if we got rid of those paper contracts, I guess that they could come in and offload a ton of precious metals onto the market. But somebody like me would just go, okay, it's on sale again. I guess I'll buy more.
Hmm. Well,
That's my attitude.
yep, and it's very clear that the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve more specifically intend to keep printing. They are
Hmm.
not going to raise interest rates. I think they're saying they will in 2023, but they've reversed course before, and they can't raise interest rates without killing the stock market, and they know this. So,
Hmm.
I think that it's probably best to plan for inflation. Ultimately, big inflation. We may never hit hyperinflation here. They're trying to measure how much currency goes out to the GDP. They're trying to keep a consistent GDP. That way we don't get a very nasty hyperinflation like Venezuela did. So they're trying very hard to keep that from happening, but they're going down the same road. They're just
Hmm.
driving a little slower down the road is all. So keeping all that stuff in mind is important. But what I mean by this, gang, is uh, commodities like gold and silver are how people have stored their wealth for 6,000 years. 6,000 years. We have recorded history of 5,400. I think we round up a bit when we say this to 6,000. I think we have recorded history to 5,400 years for storage of wealth in gold and silver, or the use of money as gold and silver. I don't think crypto has changed much of these fundamentals.
Mm-mm.
So that's where I store my wealth. I speculate in crypto. I think Kenzie does just a little bit too. But that's not our main gig. That's not our main bag. But I'll tell you what then. You've mentioned the other places. I'll make sure they're down in the description section of this video so people can get a hold of you anywhere. And by the way, she's in the Truth, Money, and Freedom Discord. She's very approachable. She's in the voice chat quite a bit of the time. So you can come in and talk to Kenzie anytime you like. She goes by Fringe Files and also by Kenzie. And
Either one works.
either one works. Gotcha. And you're just an absolute delight to have in the Discord. Also, your channel is fantastic. The interviews you have done have been top-notch interviews. Very impressive.
Oh, I didn't even mention it. If anybody thought that they had missed out on an interview, everything that I did do over at Wall Street Silver, I decided, I mean, since I produced it all anyway, I'll be adding that slowly to the channel that I have, just so that way I have a little bit of content coming out while we have a bit of a buffer zone. And don't forget, guys, like every now and again, I think once a week, we'll probably do a live stream where, you know, people from the community can come in, let us know what's on your minds, what you might have questions about. Again, we're not the smartest people in the world. We've got some very, very smart people in the Discord.
We do indeed.
Again, people that I've learned from. So for all of us to get our heads together and think about where we should be going next, or how to talk to new people that don't know a thing about gold or silver, you know, we can discuss these things, big topics that are going on in live streams. So that should be once a week. And every now and again, I might have a random edited video, or maybe I'll just go live myself and we'll have a little bit of news to discuss. I've got some stuff that I'm trying to put together right now. I don't know if I'll make a video or go live about it, but with Mr. Peter Shifty now letting us know where he really stands, I think that that's big news for a lot of us, and it kind of breaks your heart when he might be the guy that helped you get into gold or silver, you know, just by hearing him talk. So the direction that he's gone, that's big news. It's not what I expected to hear, and there's some other companies that I would like to talk about as well, because if we're giving any of these companies even a dime, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
A great example of what Kenzie's talking about is Kitco. Kitco has a few issues over there, maybe with their allocated and unallocated or something like that. But maybe a video should be done on that. Not a whole lot of videos have been done on that, as a matter of fact. Kitco has some impressive inroads.
I'm trying to get and kind of deep into it, because we kind of know what's going on. But if I could actually go and I need to read over terms and agreements for myself, what puts up red flags for me, you know, stuff that we know that's kind of wrong in the past, we can bring that up as well, because this shows it's not the first time that this has happened. This is just the first time that all of us can actually look at it together and speak on it, right?
Yep. Okay. Well, I look forward to talking to you again. We certainly will be doing live streams from Discord. And once again, congratulations on your new channel. And once again, guys, please do sub to Wall Street Stackers. Kenzie is one of the best interviewers you'll find in the silver space, guaranteed. You guys will find that out once you watch just one interview. She's done a recent interview with John Adams that's quite impressive. David Morgan, who's one of my personal heroes, she's done a great interview with him. She'll be uploading those. They were on Wall Street Silver as well, but they'll also be on Wall Street Stackers. And if you guys have any questions, you guys know where to find her. It's all down in the description section. And thank you very much for watching us today. And Kenzie, thank you very much for sharing some of your time with us so we could let everyone know where you've gone. And we will see you again very, very soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video today. Please subscribe to anything you want out of Kenzie. Some people are just Twitter folks. Some people are just YouTube folks, whatever. But it's all there so you can keep up with her work. And she's doing some excellent interviews and investigative reports on what's going on in the silver space. So thanks again, Kenzie. And thank you everyone for watching. Take care and God bless. Thank you, Kenzie.